The film begins with a woman named Umi Shikamori, who is known for working too much. Umi works at a TV studio where her job is to guide presenters, guest performers, and the audience during shows. However, her boss always gives her extra work that should be done by other employees. One day, an employee accidentally broke some makeup that was needed for a commercial. Umi's boss quickly told her to go buy new makeup. Then, Umi rushed to the usual makeup store. While waiting for the shop assistant, she noticed a popular new makeup brand called Animal Beauty. The box was beautifully designed, and Umi was amazed by it. But when she looked in the mirror, she felt like she didn't deserve to use such nice makeup. Feeling sad, she quickly tried to leave. On her way out, she bumped into a man, and her phone fell to the ground. After checking that her phone still worked, Umi felt relieved and wanted to leave. However, the man noticed her phone screen was cracked and offered to replace it. However, Umi didn't mind because the phone still worked, and she was in a hurry. Afterward, the man watched as Umi ran off as if she was being chased. Luckily, Umi made it back to the studio on time. Many people called her a workaholic, but in reality, she was just doing her job with a lot of responsibility. Sadly, her boss made her work too hard, to the point that she ignored her health and other parts of her life. Umi didn't have time for love or a relationship because she was always busy with work. She kept sacrificing her own happiness for a company that never really valued her. Every time Umi seems to have some free time, her boss, Yudo, doesn't let her rest. He quickly gives her new tasks that she has to finish right away. Yudo thinks he can always make Umi work whenever he wants, using sweet words to convince her that it's all for her career growth. He even says he can't run the event without her help. And Umi, knowing she's just an ordinary employee, feels like she can't say no, even though she's very tired. She also thinks about her younger sister, Nagi, who she has to take care of and support through school. Nagi is really grateful for her sister's hard work, but she worries a lot because Umi looks so tired and worn out from never resting. When the other employees go home, Umi is still at the office, working on the script for tomorrow's interview with a popular cosmetics brand called Animal Beauty. The president of Animal Beauty, Keisuke, is a young man. He started the brand 10 years ago while he was still in college, and now it's the most popular cosmetics brand for people of all ages. They also have a famous model named Hina as their brand ambassador. What surprised Umi the most was seeing the man she bumped into the day before. His name is Kazao, and he turned out to be a photographer working with Animal Beauty. Even though Umi had to rush to prepare for the interview, everything went smoothly in the end. After the event, Umi met Kazao again. This time, Kazao asked for her phone number and wanted to know when she had free time, so he could fix her cracked phone screen. But Umi told him the screen had already been broken before, so he didn't know her anything. Even though Kazao kept offering to help, Umi quickly left before he could convince her. Back at the office, one of the employees suddenly got sick. At that time, the boss told the employee to go home and rest, but then gave all their work to Umi. Even though Umi was already busy editing a video from the interview, she had to take on even more tasks. This time, Umi really needed a break. She was so tired that she started making mistakes like typing things wrong. Some clients even complained, and Umi had to apologize to them. She worked late that night, and the next morning she had to prepare for another shoot. Every night, she stayed late editing videos, and this routine kept repeating. Umi was overworked, and her body couldn't handle it anymore. During the live TV show, where Umi was supposed to give cues to the presenter and guests, including Hina from Animal Beauty, she reached her breaking point. Suddenly, Umi fell asleep right in front of everyone. The cameras accidentally caught her sleeping live on TV, and everyone was confused. When someone woke her up, Umi was startled and said that she hadn't slept for 3 days. She thought she was dreaming, and Hina, who was the guest, was shocked by what happened. She couldn't believe that someone like Umi was being treated so unfairly. After the show, Hina took the time to talk to Umi and told her that she didn't do anything wrong. She was very worried about Umi's health and lack of rest. As a way to help, Hina gave Umi her contact number in case Umi ever needed anything. Meanwhile, the news about how Umi was treated badly by her company spread quickly on social media. Many people criticized the company for overworking its employees, while others praised Hina for caring about Umi. Instead of apologizing, Yudo blamed her for all the trouble. He told Umi to take a break until things calmed down. At home, Umi felt like she hadn't spoken to her sister Nagi in a long time. Nagi wanted Umi to quit her job, but Umi was worried. She knew if she stopped working, they might lose their home. Out of nowhere, Umi received a call from Hina, who offered to come to her apartment. Hina had a job offer for Umi at Animal Beauty, the company she worked with. Hina thought she could help Umi get hired. Even though Umi wasn't sure it would work out, she decided to give it a try. The next day, Umi arrived at the Animal Beauty office 4 hours early. By chance, she ran into Kazuo, who had just finished a photo shoot. He was surprised to see Umi without makeup, especially since she was applying for a job at a cosmetics company. Since there was still time, Kazuo took Umi shopping for a new outfit. After trying on several options, he picked the best one and even paid for it. At the store, Umi noticed a pair of shoes that caught her eye. Kazuo encouraged her to try them on, but Umi felt she didn't deserve such nice shoes. Next, he took her to a salon where she got her makeup done. Kazuo even bought her the Animal Beauty product she had admired before. While Umi was getting ready, Kazuo went to fix her phone screen. Sometime later, Kazuo returned with Umi's phone, which had been repaired. He was amazed to see how beautiful Umi looked after her makeover, even more than he had imagined. He had also bought the shoes that Umi liked as a gift. In that moment, Umi knew she couldn't repay all of Kazuo's kindness right now, but she promised herself she wouldn't disappoint him and would do her best in the interview. When she entered the office, Umi was greeted by the president, Keisuke. He remembered Umi from their first meeting at the TV show and wished her luck for the interview. However, Umi's interview was with Daigo, the vice president. He was known for being cold and strict. There, Daigo quickly noticed that everything Umi was wearing had been bought that day because he knew she hadn't worn makeup in her previous job. He also questioned whether she always just followed her boss's orders without giving her own opinions. These comments made Umi feel small and unsure of herself. She started to doubt everything, thinking that without help from others, she was nothing. Feeling overwhelmed, Umi took off her makeup and cried. She didn't know what to do, whether she should go back to her old job where she was treated unfairly, or should she give up. The next day, Umi decided to face her fears. Instead of continuing at her old job, she handed in her resignation letter to Yudo. Yudo was surprised because he thought working at the TV station was Umi's dream. But Umi explained that she felt trapped and unappreciated at the company. She wanted to find herself again, the part of her that had been lost. Later, Umi told her sister that she had quit her job and was thinking about returning to their hometown for a while. Not long after, she received a phone call. At first, she thought it was from her old company, but she was surprised to learn it was from Animal Beauty. They were calling to tell her that she had been accepted to work at their company. The news that Umi had been accepted at Animal Beauty made her very happy, but she also felt unsure. She thought maybe she got the job because of Hina or the president, Keisuke. Kazuo also warned Umi to be careful and not get too caught up in the company's work environment. However, Umi didn't quite understand what he meant, but she knew she had to be ready for whatever challenges were ahead. The first person Umi met at the office was the vice president, Daigo. There, he showed her around and introduced her to an employee named Yuka, who would be her mentor. Unlike her old job, this office had something called a breakfast meeting, where employees discussed ideas while having breakfast together. Kazuo also showed up often, as if he was keeping an eye on Umi. At Animal Beauty, every employee had the chance to share their ideas on how to promote products. While the atmosphere seemed relaxed, everyone worked quickly and efficiently. There, Umi realized she had to adapt fast to keep up with her more experienced colleagues. One evening, as Umi was about to go home, she overheard a conversation between Daigo and Keisuke in the parking lot. Just as she suspected, Hina had recommended her for the job. Daigo had only accepted Umi out of respect for Hina, but only as an intern. After hearing this, Umi started feeling unsure about her worth at the company. Kazuo noticed her change in attitude and became worried something was wrong. One day, a problem came up with a package that was supposed to be delivered to an influencer named Odagiri and another influencer, Aaron. The package was sent to the wrong address, and they needed it for an upcoming live broadcast. Not wanting to waste any time, Umi decided to personally deliver the package to Odagiri, while Yuka delivered Aaron's package. The challenge was that Odagiri was driving while live streaming. Luckily, Umi knew his location and didn't give up. There, she chased him down and managed to catch up with Otagiri in the middle of the road to give him the package just in time. At that time, Otagiri and the viewers watching his live stream quickly recognized Umi as the sleepy TV employee from before. Otagiri was so impressed that he invited Umi to greet the audience. Since she had been running around and sweating, Umi's makeup had started to fade. She felt really embarrassed, especially since she was representing a cosmetic brand. Some netizens even joked that she looked like a zombie, which made her even more anxious. Soon after, Keisuke arrived to pick her up. Umi felt ashamed because her makeup was a mess, but he reassured her, saying she still looked beautiful, even with messy makeup. Kazuo also saw what happened from a distance. He had planned to pick Umi up, but didn't expect Keisuke to get there first. Later, in front of all the employees, Keisuke announced that Umi would be hired as a full-time employee at Animal Beauty. Daigo had also agreed, as he recognized Umi's unique potential. To fix the weaknesses in their product, they planned to improve it to be more water-resistant. Keisuke suggested they market the new product to athletes who sweat even in cold weather. Then, they chose a snowboarder named Minami to be their ambassador. However, there was a challenge, as Minami didn't seem interested in the cosmetic product. But when Umi met her, Minami seemed excited to receive it, which made Umi curious about what was really going on. While everyone else was unsure what to do, Umi was, as always, the quickest to act. She decided to take the initiative and go all the way to Minami's training place. There, the young athlete shared that some people criticize athletes when they do things outside of sports, saying they aren't fully committed. This hurt Minami's feelings, so she started cutting back on ads and media appearances. At that moment, Umi came all that way to show Minami that athletes can wear makeup too. She helped Minami look her best, giving her the confidence to feel beautiful again. In the end, Minami agreed to work with Animal Beauty. However, there was one more problem that Minami had to leave for Canada in 2 days and would be there for the next 3 months. This meant they only had 1 day to do the photo shoot. Suddenly, Keisuke arrived to support Umi. He promised they wouldn't waste this chance and would be ready by tomorrow. With no time to lose, they had to stay nearby to prepare everything. Interestingly, Umi and Keisuke had something in common. Umi always acted quickly without thinking things through, sometimes causing problems for those around her. Keisuke, on the other hand, always chased after anything that caught his interest, which often got him lost. Despite this, he believed that Umi had a special ability to bring people together and unite them. The next day, the team for the photo shoot arrived at the hotel, including Kazuo and Hina. Both were surprised to learn that Umi and Keisuke were staying at the same hotel. At that time, the photo shoot went smoothly, with beautiful snowy mountains in the background. As always, Umi was the most excited, guiding Minami through the shoot. However, Kazuo seemed a bit distant with Umi that day, as if something was bothering him. Hina also looked a bit jealous, noticing the growing closeness between Umi and Keisuke, but she understood that everyone has the right to love whoever they choose. What made the situation funny was seeing Kazuo, who was usually calm and cool, acting childish and making a fuss over small things. Later, the four of them went snowboarding together. At one point, Kazuo found a stunning view and wanted to take a picture, but Umi suddenly bumped into him. At that moment, Umi wanted to apologize if she had done something to upset Kazuo because she had felt ignored by him all day. She had been thinking about it and wanted to make things right. Seeing Umi's serious expression, Kazuo smiled and took a close-up photo of her with his camera. He joked that this was the only way they could make up, but Umi still didn't quite understand what had made Kazuo upset earlier. Back at the office, Hina approached Keisuke. She had known him for a long time and had feelings for him. Recently, though, she noticed that Keisuke seemed different, as if he was falling in love. Even though Keisuke tried to deny it, Hina suddenly kissed him and told him that she liked him. Unfortunately, Keisuke hadn't thought much about his own feelings. Hina knew that Keisuke loved his job deeply, but she hoped he would also think about his own love life, not just the company and other people. After hearing Hina's suggestion, Keisuke starts thinking about Umi. He wonders if he has special feelings for her or if it's just admiration. Meanwhile, Umi, while looking at the photos Kazuo took, gets an idea for a new proposal. She loves animal beauty products, but she realizes that Kazuo's photography also adds a lot of value. Then, Umi comes up with a plan. She suggests a photo exhibition that would be a collaboration between Kazuo and Animal Beauty. Until now, people didn't know who was behind the amazing photos of the company. If Kazuo's name is officially displayed, it could become his own brand, benefiting both him and Animal Beauty. Keisuke still remembers the clothes Umi wore during her interview. There, Umi explains that Kazuo had picked out her clothes, shoes, and makeup. Without his help, she says she wouldn't have found the confidence she has now. Kazuo is also the only one who has seen many of her sad moments. However, when Kazuo sees Umi's proposal, he asks not to have his name displayed. He explains that photographing models isn't his true passion. Kazuo dreams of traveling the country and capturing beautiful, natural landscapes. He took the job at Animal Beauty to save money for that dream. If he accepts the exhibition, Kazuo worries he'll be stuck photographing ads, something he doesn't really want. He tells Umi that this is his decision, and she shouldn't worry about it anymore. Hearing Kazuo's words, Umi felt sad and disappointed. She truly loved Kazuo's photos for Animal Beauty because they touched so many people's hearts. Even though Kazuo didn't mean to hurt her feelings, Umi decided to walk away. She reluctantly canceled the photo exhibition proposal and started thinking of other ideas. At that time, Umi tried to keep smiling, but inside, she felt upset. One day, during break, Umi overheard that Kazuo was planning to go abroad next month. Animal Beauty now needed a new photographer, and it was a problem because finding someone as good as Kazuo wasn't easy. And Hina, who was also in the office, noticed the sadness on Umi's face, as if she was already missing Kazuo. Later that evening, when Umi was about to go home, she saw Yuka still working in the meeting room. There, she asked if Yuka was staying late, and Yuka admitted she was having trouble finding materials for the next day's meeting. Feeling bad for her coworker, Umi offered to help, but they were caught by Daigo, who didn't like employees working overtime. To avoid getting in trouble, Umi invited Yuka to her house to continue working. At that time, Yuka felt guilty about bothering Umi, who was also busy with a promo event on TV, but Umi didn't mind and reassured her that they had enough time to finish the work. That night, neither of them got any sleep. Umi was used to staying up late, but Yuka struggled to stay awake. Since Umi had a live TV event the next day, she left early, confident that Yuka could finish the project on her own. The next day, Umi's TV promo event went smoothly, even though she was very tired. But when she checked her phone, she was shocked by a message. Soon after, she rushed back to the office to find Yuka and asked why the meeting with the influencer scheduled for today had been canceled. Yuka explained that after working all night, she had gone home and accidentally fallen asleep. As a result, the influencer got upset and quit, thinking the company was unprofessional. Yuka felt terrible and apologized, but Umi couldn't help thinking that if they had finished the work together the day before, maybe this problem wouldn't have happened. Seeing Yuka cry while apologizing made Umi realize she had been too harsh. She was about to leave when she realized that Kazuo and Keisuke had overheard the conversation. There, Kazuo quickly followed Umi and told her that both she and Yuka had been working too hard. And Umi, who always felt the need to meet high expectations, had been pushing herself too much. The reason she had avoided Kazuo was that she didn't want him to see her feeling so down. But Kazuo didn't care about that. He told Umi that he liked her just as she was. Umi was so surprised by this confession that she couldn't find the words to respond. Kazuo then showed Umi a black and white photo, his favorite one. He reminded her of what he had said before, that don't get too caught up in work at Animal Beauty. Umi finally understood what he meant. No matter where she worked, she shouldn't forget her true dreams. Many people end up working in fields they never expected and forget what they really want in life. That's why Kazuo had decided to step out of his comfort zone to chase his dream. Since meeting Umi, Kazuo realized he needed to stop lying to himself about his dream job and his feelings of love. Even though he confessed his feelings to Umi, Kazuo didn't expect her to answer. He just wanted to be honest before leaving for his trip abroad. He hoped that Umi would start loving herself more, take care of her health, and stop pushing herself too hard. Kazuo believed that one day Umi would achieve her dreams, live her life fully, and find happiness. After gently patting her head, he left. At that time, Umi wanted to call out to him, but she was afraid that if Kazuo saw her crying, it might stop him from following his dream. After that day, Umi tried to continue working as usual. None of their bosses blamed her or Yuka for the mistake. In fact, the leaders admitted they had given too much work and would take responsibility for what happened. After being given 3 days off, Yuka returned to work, still feeling guilty about how much Umi had helped her. And Umi, too, regretted saying hurtful things to Yuka. Seeing this, Keisuke noticed the genuine friendship between the two. He also sensed that something was bothering Umi, making it hard for her to focus on work. The next day, when Umi tried to enter the office, her ID card was rejected, and she couldn't open the door. Daigo told her that today, she wasn't allowed to enter because she had broken the rules by working overtime too much and even bringing work home. When Keisuke arrived, he gave Umi 3 options that she could work as usual, go home, or take the day to go somewhere she really wanted to be. After thinking for a moment, Umi couldn't deny it anymore that she wanted to go and see Kazuo before he left for his trip abroad. On the other hand, Keisuke realized that the smile Umi showed while working at Animal Beauty was thanks to Kazuo. When that smile started to fade or seemed forced, Keisuke knew something was missing in Umi. The same change happened in Kazuo since meeting Umi. He had rediscovered his true self. Meanwhile, Kazuo, who was at the airport, was surprised when Umi suddenly showed up to see him. For the past few days, Umi had been thinking about many things, whether she would be a burden to Kazuo, if she would hold him back from chasing his dreams, or if she wasn't good enough for him. But she decided to let go of those doubts and realized that she liked Kazuo too. Seeing Kazuo ready to start his new adventure made Umi realize that she also needed to make a decision about her own future and follow her dreams. Then, Umi gave Kazuo a photo of herself, joking that he would need it to see his long-distance girlfriend whenever he missed her. Turns out, her playful and unexpected behavior always made Kazuo smile. No words were needed cause they both knew they had loved each other from the very beginning. After Kazuo left, Umi handed in her resignation letter. It wasn't because she didn't like working at Animal Beauty, but because it had become too comfortable for her. She didn't want to stay in a place where she was pampered by the president and her colleagues, as it would stop her from finding her true self. Even though it seemed sudden, Umi was ready to start pursuing her own dreams. She thanked Keisuke and Hina, who had helped her through tough times. Hina had always seen Umi as a friend, and that friendship would never change. As for Nagi, she fully supports whatever her older sister decides. In fact, she would feel bad if her sister kept working just to take care of her. Nagi can now apply for a scholarship for school, so Umi doesn't need to worry anymore. This was the first time Keisuke had ever received a resignation letter like the one Umi gave. There, Hina explained that while employees often follow their boss's orders, there are moments in life when people need to choose their own path. Like Hina, who chose to stay at Animal Beauty because she wanted to be close to Keisuke. Hina's constant dedication touched Keisuke. Maybe because she had always been by his side, he never knew what it felt like to lose someone important. Then, he finally admitted that his feelings for Hina were more than just liking her. In their free time, Umi and Kazuo could only talk through video calls. Kazuo was often in the forest, camping and taking pictures of the beautiful landscapes. Shortly after, Umi shared that she had started her own company, but Kazuo jokingly replied that he knew Umi was both the director and the only employee. Despite this, Umi was excited about her new job, which involved curating and planning services. Their long-distance relationship was peaceful, built on mutual understanding, patience, and love, and it lasted a whole year without any issues. However, Kazuo began traveling to more remote places like deep forests and mountains, making it harder for him to communicate. There, Umi felt a little sad that she could only talk to him for 5 minutes every 2 weeks, just to hear his voice. Still, she stayed strong and saw this as part of the challenges in their relationship. One night, Yuka came to Umi in tears. She wasn't just sad. She was also upset, disappointed, and felt sorry for Umi. Yuka had seen a man she believed was Kazuo, holding hands with another girl. Umi wasn't sure if it was really Kazuo or just someone who looked like him, especially since he had been moving around to different places recently. At that time, she didn't know where he was for sure. And this made Yuka even more suspicious that the man she saw was Kazuo. Although the news bothered Umi, she tried to stay calm and think positively, hoping Yuka's suspicion was wrong. The next day, Umi had a collaboration with the Animal Beauty Company, where she reunited with her old friends, including Yuka. Yuka told them about Kazuo possibly lying about going abroad and cheating on Umi. At first, none of her friends believed Yuka, but after seeing the photos she showed, they became convinced that Kazuo had betrayed Umi. Her friends were so angry that they told Umi to prepare for a breakup and confront Kazuo immediately. They said that even if Kazuo had memory loss or a split personality, it was still unforgivable. With her friends urging her, Umi decided to contact Kazuo again. This time, Kazuo answered the video call quickly. Feeling a bit suspicious, Umi asked him if he had been to a club recently and met another girl. Kazuo was confused by her strange questions, thinking they made no sense. Frustrated, Umi shared her feelings, telling him how lonely she had felt thinking about him all the time. Then, she showed him the photo of the man who looked like Kazuo. After seeing the photo, Kazuo looked surprised. He was confused about how someone could look so much like him. But suddenly, the video call was cut off. Umi thought Kazuo had hung up on purpose, but it was actually because of a bad signal. The next day, while eating with Nagi, Umi received a phone call from Kazuo, but she chose not to answer it. Nagi was confused by her sister's behavior and asked Hina for advice. After hearing what happened, Hina and Keisuke came to comfort Umi, who was feeling down. At that moment, Keisuke couldn't believe Umi was so shaken by unclear news, because the Umi he knew would always try to find the truth herself. Following Hina and Keisuke's advice, Umi decided to go check out the club that Yuka had mentioned. She believed she could find the answers there. There, Umi waited outside the club all night, watching people come and go, fighting her sleepiness. In the early morning, while half awake, she spotted a man who distracted her. She quickly got up, chased after him, and grabbed his hand. To her shock, the man looked exactly like Kazuo. But after a closer look, Umi realized he wasn't Kazuo. The man introduced himself as Erasure and revealed that he was Kazuo's twin brother. He explained that their parents had divorced when they were 1 year old. Erasure lived with their mother, while Kazuo stayed with their father. Erasure said it wasn't surprising Kazuo didn't remember him, as they were too young, and their father might never have told Kazuo about his twin. While they looked identical, Erasure admitted that he was more mischievous and liked teasing women, unlike Kazuo, who was calm and quiet. At Umi's request, Erasure finally agreed to talk to Kazuo for the first time. Both were shocked to see how identical they looked, despite being separated for 23 years. There, Erasure admired Kazuo's job, thinking it seemed fun. But Kazuo explained that his brother misunderstood. No matter the profession, if it doesn't match someone's passion, it can feel boring. What's comfortable for one person might not be for another. Kazuo believed that one day, Erasure would find his true dream. At that time, Kazuo's words made Erasure think, and being called brother by Kazuo touched him deeply. After they cooked and ate together, Umi packed some food for Erasure to take home. Then, Erasure finally admitted his way of thinking had been wrong, and he thanked Umi for bringing him and Kazuo together, even though it wasn't intentional. Before leaving, Erasure joked that if Umi ever broke up with Kazuo, he'd be ready to take Kazuo's place. Upon hearing that, Umi laughed and told him not to expect that, as she wasn't planning to break up with Kazuo. With everything cleared up, Umi felt relieved and regained her energy. She shared the good news with her friends, who had previously doubted Kazuo and told her to break up with him. At that time, they apologized, admitting they had misunderstood because they were worried Umi would get hurt again. That night, Umi visited her usual ramen shop. The owner mentioned that someone was waiting for her inside. When Umi walked in, she was shocked to see Kazuo, her boyfriend whom she had been waiting a year for. Turns out, he had come back earlier than planned, without telling Umi. Because they missed each other so much, Kazuo and Umi couldn't let go of their hug. There, he apologized for making Umi feel lonely, then showed her a roll of film with photos he had taken from different countries. He wanted Umi to be the first person to see all his photos and understand what he had been working on over the past year. He also brought a special small bag as a souvenir for her, saying it reminded him of how cute she was. Umi was thrilled to receive it, as well as the couple's necklace they both now wore together. But what made Umi happiest was knowing that Kazuo's feelings for her hadn't changed at all. As they walked together, she couldn't hide her joy. She realized she had been wrong to doubt Kazuo, who had been thinking about her the whole time, hoping she was okay and hadn't lost her smile. With the same love for each other, they both looked forward to being together again. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is don't let work turn you into a sleep-deprived zombie, where you might end up snoozing on live TV. Also, sometimes love surprises you, especially when it comes with a cracked phone and a twin you never knew existed.